The digits on your monitor don't feel like currency. They feel like a score in a game you don't yet understand. You refresh the page, but the number stays the same. Level 1, the $500 account. You funded it on a Tuesday night while the rest of the house was quiet. This was money meant for something practical: new tires, a weekend trip, a safety net. You didn't tell a soul. The trading platform flickers to life, and that $500 balance looks like a crack in a concrete wall you've been staring at your entire life. You buy something. You couldn't explain the technicals if someone asked. You saw a ticker mentioned in a comment section or a hyped-up video. You just want in. The price ticks up. It's not a windfall, maybe $42, but you slam the close button immediately. You're terrified the green numbers will turn red if you blink. When you see that balance hit $542, you feel a surge that isn't just joy. It's validation. It's proof of a secret you've always kept, that you're different, that you can see the patterns the normals miss. You jump back in instantly. This time, the market turns. You hold. You've heard people talk about diamond hands. You wait 48 hours, checking your phone in the middle of conversations, under the table at dinner. It doesn't recover. You exit at a $65 loss. You're down to $477. You don't sleep that night, but it's not because you're grieving the money. It's because your brain is already calculating the next move. That's the trap at this level. The loss doesn't provide a lesson. It provides momentum. You deposit another $200 the next morning, calling it tuition. You think the market has a personality, a temper, a bias against you. You haven't realized yet that the ocean doesn't know you're drowning. You end the month at $385. You tell yourself it's the cost of an education. 7 months have passed. You aren't a tourist anymore. You've devoured the books. You've watched 1,000 hours of chart breakdowns. You have what you call a strategy. You fund the account with $5,000. This is rent money you optimized by cutting corners elsewhere. You don't look at that decision too closely. This is a different weight class. A 2% drawdown isn't the price of a lunch anymore. It's $100. You feel it in your chest, a dull, physical pressure. Your mouse movements are slower, more deliberate. You think you've matured. You start seeing real setups, not the moon signals from YouTube, but the actual rhythm of the tape. One Tuesday, you catch a reversal that nets you $350 in 15 minutes. You lean back, heart racing, convinced you finally cracked the code. Your girlfriend asks why you're staring at the wall. You tell her, just working on a project. You don't go into details. The account climbs to $6,500, then drifts back to $5,100. Then comes a news event you completely misread. You watch $1,200 vanish in 40 minutes. You don't exit. You hedge by opening a massive position in the opposite direction, doubling your risk in a panic. By the closing bell, you're sitting at $3,400. You don't tell anyone. You quietly move another $1,600 from your savings to bring the balance back to a clean $5,000. You don't record that deposit in your trading journal. This is the shadow accounting that defines this level. You start curating your own history, celebrating the $350 wins in your head while burying the $1,600 refunds. You are protecting your ego more than your capital. You hit the $25,000 mark on a random Thursday. The PDT rule, pattern day trader, no longer applies to you. You've been waiting for this like it's a high-level security clearance. You've crawled to this number over 2 years, pulling cash from side hustles, early settlements, and car repairs that never happened. You have a real setup now: multiple monitors, a dedicated data feed, and a $150 a month scanner. You wake up at 6:30 a.m. to check the overnight futures before you've even brushed your teeth. You don't say, "I trade." You say, "I am a trader." There is a world of difference in that distinction. But now you face a new demon: consistency. Flukes and skills look identical in the short term, but the $25,000 level demands repeatable results. You start tracking the hard metrics: Win rate, profit factor, average loser. The data tells a story that is much uglier than the one in your head. You hit a 3-week losing streak. Nothing catastrophic, just a slow, rhythmic bleed. You're doing something wrong at a fundamental level, and you don't know what it is. This is the most dangerous part of the journey, being skilled enough to know you're failing, but not skilled enough to know why. You pay a mentor $2,000 for a weekend session. He tells you things you already knew, but he gives you something you lost, the permission to trust your own eyes. The account ends the year at $32,000. You are profitable, but you are not yet a master. You have simply survived the first gate. 6 figures in a trading account is a milestone most never reach, but for you, it has lost its luster. That's the first real symptom of your transformation. 12 months ago, this number was a target on the horizon. Now, it's just a working balance. You need this size to take the positions required to sustain your life. The money has evolved from wealth into a functional tool, and tools don't impress you anymore. You're trading real size now. You're navigating positions that exceed the lifetime earnings of your peers, and the irony is that it no longer feels real. You managed a 6-figure drawdown before lunch, and your pulse didn't even accelerate. Your relationship finally died. There was no explosive fight, no betrayal. She just said you were somewhere else, even when your body was in the room. You didn't argue because she was right. You were calculating the gamma exposure on a Tuesday morning. There was nothing left to say. You think about this in the 2-minute gaps between trades. Then the next setup forms, and the thought vanishes. At this level, you realize edge isn't a strategy or a secret indicator. It's a statistical reality that requires enough capital to survive the variance. Most people wash out because they run out of money before the math can work. You survive the sample size. You end the year at $140,000. You are elite, but you are becoming hollow. $500,000 with your name on it, and you don't feel like celebrating. This isn't humility for the camera, it's genuine indifference. The primary emotion is a low, stable pressure that never leaves your temples. You feel it on weekends when the markets are closed. You feel it at family dinners when your parents ask, "How's work?" and you say, "Fine," because explaining the reality of your day would feel like speaking a dead language. Your entries are surgical now. You've learned to wait in a way that would be unrecognizable to the $500 version of you. You have rules you violated exactly twice in 5 years, and both times the market punished you instantly. At this level, you start to feel the liquidity. You are big enough that your orders leave a fingerprint on the tape. You've become part of the machine you used to watch from the sidelines. Your social circle has contracted to a tiny radius. You tell yourself it's a necessary sacrifice for focus, but you've been saying that since the $25,000 account. You're no longer a person, you're an optimization algorithm. Somewhere around the $2 million mark, you stop trading. You're allocating. You're managing exposure, correlation, and drawdown curves. The vocabulary has shifted from hits to risk-adjusted returns. 2 million generates problems you never anticipated. Tax entities, estate planning, and compliance issues that have nothing to do with the charts and everything to do with being a financial structure. You have a lawyer and a specialist accountant on retainer. You meet others at this level occasionally. These meetings are formal, careful. No one shows their full hand. The camaraderie of the Discord rooms is gone. Here, there is only professional respect and strategic interest. You are very good at what you do. It's a cold fact, like the color of your eyes. You've been tested by crashes and squeezes, and you're still standing. But the person who funded that first $500 account, you don't have access to him anymore. He's a stranger in an old photograph. The call comes at 6 a.m. It's scheduled, professional. You take it in the kitchen while the coffee brews. You say 3 words and hang up. You've entered the tier where capital generates its own gravity. You have relationships with desks at firms you used to only see on the news. There is no community here. There is no forum. There are only a handful of people on Earth operating at this scale, and you will never be in a room with most of them. You live exceptionally well, but the luxury doesn't produce happiness. It produces clarity. You see that material comfort is just a temperature you maintain to keep the machine running. You think about that first $340 win sometimes, not with nostalgia, but with a clinical recognition of a variable you've lost. Surprise. That win felt like magic because the stakes were human and the outcome was uncertain. Now, nothing the market does can make you feel that shock. The flattening of outcome into expectation is the real price of the journey. The market opens. You watch the first few minutes without moving. It's not discipline, it's reflex. Muscle memory laid down over years of slow, grinding competence. Somewhere, someone just funded a $500 account. They think it's simple. They think they're different. You know they're wrong, but you also know they'll have to learn it the same way you did. The screen flickers. You place the order. The game continues.